Now you know I'm playing that, don't you?
We have no idea. We're all looking around in confusion.
Prince Philip has passed away.
Has left the building.
Oh, wow.
At the grand old age of 99.
Oh.
Well, I'm glad at least one person in there is paying attention this morning.
Well, you're always right on time, Pat, so I trust you.
Why don't you turn your mic up?
Yes, I think that would be a good idea if I turn my mic up, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
I was turning the wrong one up. It was
Thank
empty.
you there, Adam.
Hey, took a couple weeks off, and
And
You're
he's back.
still on top of your game.
Yeah.
He's back running the show, man. He's
Absolutely.
like, get with it.
Well, welcome home. This is Leo Kane with Barrel Engineering and Inspection, kicking off an exciting 2 hours with Adam Talley of Talley Insurance and Katrina Madewell of Keller Williams and Tampa Home Talk.
So, Adam, you completely missed it. Was he here that week? I don't think he was.
He was not here that week.
So, remember how we've been reporting all the numbers?
Mm-hmm.
It gets more grim than what I had initially thought because
We were reporting all the numbers.
everything. So, remember how we thought we were just pulling single family for 3 counties?
Ooh.
It was actually condos, townhomes, villas, mobile homes, everything.
oh shoot, well
That's the numbers for all of them.
then we are screwed.
Hey, I don't think you can say that on the air now.
I think you can say that on the air.
I don't know, Pat. Is
Let's
that a
not
dump
risk
button word?
it, okay?
No, that's a good word.
Yeah.
It's a good word.
We're a little cleaner than that.
Okay.
Come on. All right.
Yeah,
so,
we're a rated G TV experience.
So looking at the numbers, we can go over these from last week. We got a couple more listings, not many, but a few. So this week's numbers are coming in at 668 new listings on the market.
And that does include everything.
That's everything.
Everything.
No, it's single family. Sorry.
Okay, so we have corrected it to single
yeah,
family.
that's single family. So
Now our numbers are creeping back up to where our numbers were.
right. Yep.
Okay.
And pending home sales are in at 1132. So that's a little bit lower than last week. We were 1151 last week. And then the number of sold properties has dipped a little to 832 versus 857.
And this is just stuff that's on the
Single
MLS,
family.
right? So like
Correct.
some of these new construction ones down in southern Hillsborough County never make it to the
That's
MLS.
not true.
Okay.
No, they do make it
some
to the
of them-
MLS.
Not some of them, not all
But
of
it's
them.
not all of them, right?
Correct,
Okay.
yeah.
So there could be a couple hundred missing,
Yeah.
potentially.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. We can wait for the actual numbers, right, which Florida Realtors reports. But it's so delayed that it doesn't matter by the time it gets reported.
Yeah.
So,
That's why your subscription to Tampa Home Talk is important. You can get today's numbers today instead of today's numbers last week.
yeah. So how are you even hot? Like I'm sweating. Like I'm ready to like.
Yeah, I
turn
feel
the air
pretty
down.
good. I don't know, man.
And Leo's wearing a parka. This is like every week.
I'm getting ready. I'm like that professional boxer that's about to go in the ring and just do a bunch of exercise, and they need to keep their muscles warm. I'm the same way. Only my boxing ring is a roof.
There we go.
So
Fair enough.
I don't watch a lot of news, but Adam, you feel my pain because I've talked to you a little bit about having like teenage kids,
Oh, my
right?
goodness, yes.
And I was watching that kid that was 18 years old that hit the woman and the baby on Bayshore.
It's sad for
Did you
everybody
see he got-
involved.
it
Yeah,
was
24 years.
24 years. He was sentenced.
It's sad for everybody involved, both sides.
I couldn't get that out of my head last night, like literally when I was going to bed, because I have a kid that age, and all I can think of is, oh my gosh, that could happen to anybody.
As someone who doesn't watch the news, even though I'm on
So-
talk radio,
So this kid
a couple
was,
years ago, yeah.
he was 18 years old.
17, 18,
He
yeah.
got a brand new Mustang for graduation, high school, and basically was driving on Bayshore 102 miles an hour. They pulled the data from the box in the car, and he hit a lady and her baby and killed
oh,
them.
this happened several years. This is why you have the 35 mile per hour speed signs on Bayshore.
Yeah, and there's always usually.
Well, did you
police sitting
see?
there.
Did you see that it wasn't during that incident, but they pulled it from? They can pull all that data, and he had at one point had gone 160 on
I
75. I mean, that's crazy. That's way too fast.
Yeah, and that we just had this whole fight. In my house with my son, I actually took away his driver's license for speeding.
That was the smartest thing you could have done.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Katrina, because your son, he's got to really watch himself because that could have really been him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. People watch it, I think, and everyone thinks, oh, that's not going to happen to me. Right.
Yeah. Well, on the
Right,
flip
and
side of that,
then-
you got kids that don't understand. Like 160 in a Mustang
Deadly.
is not the same as 160 in a Porsche. Like it's not built to go that
It's
fast.
still-
It could fall
100
apart
but
real quick.
160 in any car is a lethal weapon.
absolutely.
I mean, it just
Absolutely.
You
is.
don't have to be at 160 to be a lethal weapon. You can actually be a lethal weapon as little as 15 miles per hour.
I knew this was coming.
Well, it depends on how big you are. You could be lethal
Okay.
at 10 miles an hour.
Well, you
So,
can actually be.
But if you're multiplying those efforts and you're over 100, that's surely going to.
Yeah,
he's lethal at 0 miles an hour.
When you take into account force, and force is predicated by acceleration and how fast you're moving. So the faster you're moving, the same object is going to have a lot more force and cause more damage. We see the same thing happen with hail all the time on roofs.
Yeah. Well, it's like you look at those safety ratings. It's not uniform across all this types of cars. You could have the safest smart car, but I promise you, if it gets in front of my pickup truck, it doesn't matter if it's the safest smart car. It's just, you're not going to have a good time, you know?
He actually hit her at 45 to 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, I read that too.
So what do you have more information on it, Pat? Like, was he just driving faster and then he slowed down, or what?
Well, yeah, he actually saw what was in front of him and he tried to brake. I talked to my son about that, and he was just upside down furious. He said, why wouldn't he have just jerked his steering or went through that wall into the bay?
Well, from what I read, it looked like he was in the lane that the lady wasn't in. His friend that he was racing with cut over because he saw the lady, so he cut over to avoid his friend, and the lady was right there.
See, that's more than I knew.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard it was a street racing thing.
You know, but they said it was not racing with the insurance company, and the insurance company had a policy of $5 million, and they said if it was racing, the policy would have been null and void. But they went to court with a bunch of lawyers, and they finally got it that it was not street racing, and the family got $5 million.
It's just like Adam said, it's sad all the way around for all parties involved.
Definitely.
No amount of money can bring back the people that you don't have anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can't bring them back. And so it's, it helps maybe, I guess, in some respect, but at the end of the day, it's not going to bring them back.
Yeah.
So, kids out there, or parents that have kids. I mean, Pat knows. I told him about it. It was hard, and my son turned 18 yesterday, so he has his driver's license back. How much is that insurance going to be, Adam?
You got to send me a VIN number. You never sent me the VIN number.
Well, it's because he has to buy his own car.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
Buy here, pay here car with a governor that doesn't go above 40 miles per hour.
I think a Dodge Caravan from like 2008 would be a perfect car for him.
That was like my first vehicle.
You still drive almost a Dodge Caravan.
It's a Dodge Journey.
Katrina, if you want to buy him anything, buy him a bus pass.
Well, I tell
An
you,
Uber gift card. Here you go.
Actually, I take that back. I was driving the town and country.
Ooh, look at you. Proud of you.
Shopping insurance, it's actually cheaper to insure kids on like our F-150. That was cheaper to add him to that car than any other one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're definitely not going to add.
Well, funny story. So, because people ask me all the time, "Oh, I'm getting this new car. Is it going to be way more expensive?" And it really just depends, right? So, before I bought my pickup truck, I had a 2011 Honda Civic, just the basic. If you see a brown Honda Civic, that's what it was, right? And when I bought my pickup truck, I got it new. I was like, oh man, this is going to be way expensive. This, the price of these is not even close. And it was actually less expensive to insure me with a brand new pickup truck than it was with a Honda Civic.
Is that because Honda Civics are more likely to get into accidents?
No, I think what it comes down to is it's bigger, it's safer. If I get in an accident, I'm probably walking away from it. It's that kind of stuff.
Well, trucks also don't go fast, right? Like some cars. So I think that's probably part of it.
Really hard to get that thing going fast.
Yep. So
I don't
anyway,
drive fast anyways. But
because I thought, and this is a good question for Adam, who's an insurance person. I always thought they did. Like they take the type of vehicle and they look at that type of vehicle and its accident history overall to determine some of these rates.
They might. When I started my career, it was on the homeowner side, so I know all the actuarial stuff on that end. On the auto end, it's a little bit more hit and miss. I do believe they do that, but it's more like the statistics of injuries after that, right? Because you can't control who's driving the car and getting in accidents, but, hey, are you walking away from that accident or are you going to the hospital?
Well, this is Tampa Home Talk. You guys probably hear the music rolling in, so we do have to roll to a break. We'll talk about some of our listings hitting the market soon, but when we come back right after the break, we're going to join Michelle Dillard. She is with Browning Moving, and I am sure she's going to have all kinds of stories and some cool stuff to tell you guys about in the moving world. So this is Tampa Home Talk. Stick around. We will be back with Michelle Dillard right here in just a moment.
Welcome home, Tampa Home Talk. Leo Kane here
We're
with
back.
Adam Talley, Katrina
That's me.
Manuel.
Let's give it our off-air number. I forgot to do that.
Oh, yeah,
segment.
813-377-2775. That's 813-377-2775.
And you can call or text if you want to chime in on the conversation. If you've got some questions for our guest while we're in the studio, my amazing staff will give us all of those messages and questions as we're chatting. Or if you just want to connect with us, you want to get some information on what your home's value is, you can just text value to 813-377-2775. We'll give you a fresh perspective of the market and even a room-by-room review. Our clients actually love that. When we come give them a room-by-room review on what to prepare to get the home ready for market, they love that because they really can get top dollar in any market, not just this one. But 813-377-2775. That is our off-air number. So if you'd like to get information, just call or text at that number. So good morning to all of our Facebook folks watching, by the way. We appreciate you guys.
Make sure you like and subscribe.
Yes, definitely like and subscribe and hit the little bell for more notifications and pop-ups when we post stuff.
Because we already know we don't have enough of those in our life.
Exactly. So let's run on over to Michelle Dillard. She's our guest for the hour with Browning Moving. So good morning.
Good morning, Katrina. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for hanging out with us in the first hour to go through a little bit of that market chit chat that we do every Friday morning at 8.
Love it.
So tell us a little bit about Brown Moving. Like, tell us about your company and your business. How long have you guys been around?
So Browning Moving is part of United Van Lines, and we have been here since about 1988. We're a family company, and we have about 4 generations actually that work in our offices. So Browning actually has an office in Tallahassee, an office in Lakeland, and then we're also part of a company called Unigroup, so we also have Mayflower as well.
So you guys are like a big sister company of some of the other big companies
Yes,
that
we're-
we've heard of. So you do out-of-state moves and all that sort of stuff.
Yes, we sure do. We do locals, intra-states inside the state of Florida, interstates, internationals, commercial. We do it all.
So let's talk about all the fun stuff, right, that we see in this whole world when someone's trying to buy and sell a place and get in the next one. Or, you know, we have people literally that are hard to get out of their house because they've been in there for 20 years. So I imagine you guys are doing some of the packing services, right? And what about storing the stuff, right? Like if the closing's delayed, that never happens, right?
Absolutely. So we come in and we do complete packing services, and then we also do storage. So we store at our local facility.
So how does that work? Like you guys have the truck loaded up, now you got to unload the truck and you have to reload it?
Exactly. If we can, we'll bring vault trailers out to the residence and we'll vault right there at the residence. Depending on the size of the shipment, the time of the year, the vault trailer's available.
What's a vault trailer?
So a vault trailer is like a semi-tractor trailer. We put 5 volts on it, and that allows us to load the household goods from residence and directly onto the vaults and then take it to our storage facility.
Oh, so I mean, everyone's kind of familiar with pods, right? So it's similar to that where you load it up, pack it, move it, store it, bring it back?
Very similar, but we do all of the work.
Got it.
So, you know, pods is different. You have to load those yourself, but with a full service moving company, we come in and we do it all for you. We also have what we call like a declutter process that's very, very good for your clients. As we come in, we'll take like 1,000 pounds, you know, to declutter. We'll put it into our warehouse for them. We have a special declutter charge for our Keller Williams clients.
Oh, that's great. Tell us about that.
So what we do is we come in and we have a flat rate of about $300, you know, and then
not bad
we
at all.
vault
Yeah.
the shipment. It's for 2 to 3 vaults, and then we keep it for a month. And then once they're ready to deliver out, we either go to the residence, load the rest of their household goods, and then load their declutter vaults and then
So
take it
it's-
to their destination.
So it's $300 to do 2 of these declutter vaults where you take the stuff away, we can get the
For the
house ready
2
for
vaults.
market. That is awesome.
That's a great deal.
I was thinking the declutter vault goes to the landfill, but apparently they get their stuff back.
So if
Yep.
so here's what we do.
that wasn't a
Michelle.
joke. That was
Oh, I
serious.
know, I know,
Right.
I know, buddy.
So when we help our sellers get ready for market, and here's the thing, the longer someone's in the property, the harder it is to imagine like what has to go where. So I saw this where I started watching clients like literally go through a room, they pick up stuff, they look at it, they just spend too much time trying to figure out if it's staying, if it's going. Like they just get stuck, and then they're done, and then they don't actually move in a quick, efficient manner. So we started handing them like 2 different color sticky notes, like Post-its, and I'm like, here's what I want you to do. Don't worry about anything else right now, or packing or storing or anything. I want you to literally take these 2 different color Post-it notes, one pink and blue, right, or red or yellow or whatever. And then essentially I want you to go tag, especially the big furniture, go tag everything that you know you're definitely taking with you to your next house, but you might not need it between now and the next month when you move. And then I want you to take the other Post-it note and go tag everything that you know you're either going to sell it or donate it, however that happens. It's just not coming with you to your next place. So that makes the process pretty simple because they literally just can kind of run through room by room. We can keep them on track, keep them moving, so they're not trying to look through all the little stuff. Like we're ignoring all of that right now. We're just tagging all the big stuff.
Yeah.
And getting them ready, so that when Kim comes through, we have a little bit of a cleaner slate to work with.
I'm a big purge person when I move. Every time, like if I haven't touched it in 6 months, it's gone.
Right.
But I am so guilty though. You get that one item, you're like, "Ooh, I might use that later," and you tuck it away, and then it's
what we
it's
don't.
out of your memory.
That's what we
forever.
don't want you guys doing. Like we want you to go in and make a clear decision, like right away. If I have to decide, am I taking this or am I not?
I'm taking the Tic Tacs, not the Altoids.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So you're just going to tag it, and we're going to figure out later if you're going to sell it. You can always reconsider right before you get rid of it. But if you had to make a split second right this moment, would you take it or leave it? Like that's kind of we think about it like that.
I think like 95% of the items would be in the throw in the dumpster category.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and people get hung on to stuff because they're like, oh, there's value, I can sell it. So we see people kind of get caught in this weird limbo mode. So that's why the Post-it notes really help, because we just kind of run through the process. And we really do make it easy. I mean, I have a client yesterday. Remember that we sold the one in Maiden Sea? I told you another listing there. So that one actually is closing today. And that one, they had 3 properties to sell to buy this one.
Oh yeah, I know which one
And they
we're
were
talking
going
about.
VA.
Yeah.
But we got it done like very seamlessly. And they're like, I don't even know how you did all this. Like, I don't know how we could have done this.
He was a nice guy.
The most
Very
painful
nice.
part to me about moving as an end user is the amount of stuff I will pack, move, or pay someone like your company to move, and then throw out when I get there.
Right here, you're like, where does this go? It goes in the trash
So
now.
we're trying to avoid that, right? Because you guys
Yes.
charge by the pound to move.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
that's what I tell the clients too. I'm like, there is no sense in paying for this stuff if you're not going to use it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'll tell them, keep the plastic shelf in the garage if
Yeah.
you need the plastic shelf. It costs more to replace it than it does to ship it,
Right, yeah.
So you have to kind of weigh those balances out. But when I'm there talking with them, I help them with that too and give them advice and just say, hey, no sense in shipping rocks if we
Yeah.
can take feathers.
So that's interesting. So
I
you
love that.
charge-
No
you-
sense in
yeah.
shipping rocks if you can take feathers. But a pound of rocks is the same as a pound
So
of
you
feathers.
charge but the volume's different.
Right.
So you charge by the pound. I think that's unique because every time I've moved, it's been
By the
like,
hour.
By the hour.
Right. Well, if it's local, it is by the hour.
Okay.
So under 50 miles, it's considered a local move, and that would be hourly. And then over 50 miles is considered, and moving within the state of Florida is intra. And then, of course, crossing over the state line is when you go into
Have
interstate.
you ever had any where they're like right at like 52 miles? Have you had anything
Oh,
like that?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Are you still keeping that local?
Yes.
Story?
Well,
Okay.
not really, because sometimes I'm all about the cost for the customer too.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's actually cheaper to do it as an intra.
Really?
Because then you're not paying that hourly rate to travel for 50 miles.
Got it.
Yeah, so it just depends on the size of the shipment,
I've
where
had-
it's going.
I've had some people literally have moved right down the street.
Right.
Have you had any of those?
Might as well
Absolutely.
move 100 miles if you're moving down the street. You still got to
Well,
pack
no,
up the
I've
same
had people
crap.
that like rent properties.
Yeah, I was
and
gonna say
now
the
they
rent
buy,
is-
so they just
Yeah.
move literally right.
Literally like down the street. I actually just had a client that's just moving around the corner,
Yeah.
from a home to a condo,
Yeah, see
so
that. Upsize, downsize, stay in
Yes.
the neighborhood. We see that kind of stuff.
yep,
Pretty
absolutely.
regularly. So
That's kind of like the best of all worlds. You already know most of your neighbors. and-
Right.
And you're right sizing your house.
Exactly.
yeah.
Right sizing. I like
Well, it happens, right? Like you get to a place where the house is too big, too small, too whatever.
Absolutely. And your
I just
kids
haven't heard
grow
that
and they
term
go
before,
and you're
yeah,
empty
yeah.
nesters now and
Yep.
yeah,
Right
so
side.
many different scenarios.
Well, it's interesting. I talked to a real estate friend of mine that lives up in the northern part of Florida, and they had this big house that they lived in, and then when all the kids moved out, they were just there by themselves. And they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll just stay here." But then what people don't realize, and Leo, you can chime in on this, if you have this big empty house and say you're only using the master bedroom, master bathroom, the kitchen, that kind of stuff, these other toilets and stuff that never get used, when they
Right.
do get used,
Yeah, they start breaking
they
immediately.
start leaking. But so, it doesn't, you end up, it's kind of like if you don't use it, you lose it, I guess, even
Right.
for your house.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then that's why in my house, because it's only my wife and I rotate which bathroom I use.
Yeah.
And I don't
There you
do it
go.
because
Because those seals break. And
the seals
stuff
break,
like
you have
that.
to use it. I rotate the sinks I use. I rotate all that. It's just part of standard maintenance.
That's how a home inspector thinks. That's like yeah, I got to use all the bathrooms. Got to sleep in all the bedrooms. Got to open
it's
all the
smart.
doors.
I've got to.
All right. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about, how things are inventoried for the move. And then also, what about those big, awkward, heavy items? And we'll talk about pianos. People always want to know about pianos.
Oh, yeah.
This is Tampa Home Talk, our off-air number. If you want to get some information from our mover or you got a question, 813-377-2775, 813-377-2775.
Welcome home. This is Tampa Home Talk. I'm Adam Talley with Talley Insurance, joined by Katrina Madewell, Realtor Extraordinaire, Leo Kane, of course, Barrel Project Engineering, Inspections, and Baby Proofing. And, if you ever want to get a hold of us, it's 813-377-2775. And we're talking all about moving today with Michelle
Now,
Dillard.
people are driving. You got to give that number out more than once, Adam.
Oh, what is it again? It's 577-773-318.
Do not read it backwards. 813-377-2775.
Stop confusing the listeners.
No, shame on you.
They're driving. They shouldn't be writing this down anyways.
That's
They should
right. That's why we gotta
They
say it
should be
more than
going
once.
back onto YouTube later and finding it because it's sitting right behind us.
Or
And-
go to a podcast.
yes,
We're on there,
or
Tampa
find
Home
us on
Talk.
Facebook. But please, as your insurance advisor, do not write this down.
When you
while
get
you're
your red
driving.
light, you can dial us then or text
Correct,
us. 813-377-2775. Just don't do it while you're driving.
Yes, please,
That's what we're asking.
please.
So, all right. Back to Michelle Dillard with Browning Moving. So let's chat about how stuff is inventoried. So we go through the property. We're getting stuff decluttered. We got them finally to part with some stuff. And, they've taken the big things they want to take with them out. How are we now inventorying, like what's going in there, what's staying behind, what's moving? What's that process like?
Absolutely. So the first day we would come in there and we would do all the packing, or if they're packing themselves, the day of the load, we come in and we inventory everything with inventory stickers. We put them onto an inventory sheet, all the way down to a broomstick.
Wow.
Yes, and then once we get to our destination, our clients would take that bingo sheet and they check off all of the inventory. If we're in Florida, boxes get humidity, the little stickers might fall off. So I always tell my clients, hey, if a sticker falls off, set that box right next to you, because that's also how we determine you have all your stuff.
Got it.
And if for some reason there was a box missing, we know what to trace it because we know what the number of that box was.
Got
So
it.
inventory is actually very, very important and during their relocation.
But you don't really mix any people's stuff in storage, do you?
No, nope. Everything gets stored into their own vaults, and then if we do
Does that
have
really ever happen? Like the boxes get shifted or moved around? I mean, maybe. I guess it could, but
human
Pretty
service
rare, right?
environment, right?
Yeah.
So I guess anything
It's
could
not
happen,
common,
but
though, is
it's
it?
not
Yeah.
common because they do separate the items in the truck. We use different colored inventory stickers for different shipments, so they use different procedures.
So what about some of these big, awkward, heavy items? Give me an example what some of those are, and do they cost extra to move?
Do you insure them?
Yeah.
Right.
Of course, Adam wants to know that.
So, but baby grand pianos, bam,
So how
if-
does that work? Because I don't think movers insurance doesn't really cover a ton, right?
So actually, we
pretty
do
limited.
not call it insurance in our industry. It's actually called valuation coverage, because valuation coverage is repairing or replacing an item that was damaged by the moving company. So insurance, it replaces any pre-existing damage, so to speak, but valuation coverage is only going to do, what the movers had done. So we call it valuation. And we place a value on the shipment based on the weight of the shipment. And then if the client needs additional coverage, they always can get additional coverage. They can fill out a high value inventory sheet.
So like if somebody has, say, really expensive artwork,
Yes.
how does that work?
So sometimes on the expensive artwork, if they're oil paintings and things, we might have a third-party company come in and crate those items, because that way, if it's a $5,000 oil painting, it's being crated and serviced properly. And then we would have them uncrated at the other side, but we still take it with us. Even though the third party comes in and they service those items, we still bring them and they're still covered under our valuation.
So, Adam, how would that work if someone had an item maybe that was damaged or, moving, what'd you say?
Valuation.
Valuation
Yep.
insurance or valuation coverage didn't really cover it. How they thought they would. Would insurance play a role at all?
It depends on what happens to it, right? If it's damaged, no, because
Yep.
that's not a covered peril, right? Now, if you have your normal covered perils, right? So that's the same thing that your house would be covered under. Generally speaking, you get 10% of your contents. So like a perfect example is a storage unit, right? You have a storage unit because you can't keep all your crap or your stuff in your house. Sorry.
Yeah.
My language today is crazy. So you generally get 10% extended over to anything to like that storage unit, right? So if you have $50,000 in contents coverage on your homeowner's policy, you'd have $5,000 worth of coverage there. But the perils are the same. So it'd be like theft, fire, lightning, hurricane, that kind of stuff. But just damage from human error, no.
And that's
Got it.
where that valuation comes in. And that's why that valuation coverage is so important on a relocation. We have a legal liability as a moving company. That's 60 cents a pound. It's a legal liability. It's free to the client. But it's 60 cents a pound, and then
Right,
the full
which
value
some-
protection.
So that oil painting that only weighs like 20 pounds, but it's $10,000.
Exactly. You
Big
get
problem.
$12 for it,
Yeah.
right?
I'm honestly moving that stuff myself. I'm just
Well,
saying.
$100. Yeah. So
Throw it in the back of the Tesla. It has too many airbags anyways. We're good to go.
So
exactly.
What's an example of other like really big, awkward, heavy items? I know some of those old like antique entertainment centers and like wall units. Those can be huge and barely dismount.
It-
Back in the
very
day when
heavy.
those TVs were 800 pounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the big TVs.
Do people still ask you to move those? Like when you can buy a 70-inch for
Move them to
$500?
the trash can.
Do they ask you to
Very
move
rarely, but they're still around, believe it or not. We still find them in like the kids' playrooms and stuff. They still have those
them?
big.
Like literally, I was at Walmart. I saw a 70-inch TV for like $500.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you got to think those really, like from a baby proofing standpoint, those really big, bulky TVs that you can anchor to a stud wall, that's not going to fall over. It's those really thin $500 TVs. Those are injuring and crippling babies.
This is Leo Kane of Barrel Baby Proofing.
Right.
Talking.com.
Well, and as far as moving heavy items with the moving company, we're trained for that. We have our proper equipment to move those items. Our guys are trained to move those items. So
What if they're just awkward and you got stairs involved and all that stuff?
that's what you have a moving company for,
Yeah.
girl. That's why you hire
Right.
a mover.
Hey,
Yep.
question for you. So what's the farthest move that you've done?
Internationally.
Yeah?
Yeah, we do international moves.
Put it on a box, put it on a ship, and
Yeah, put it on.
wave it
yep.
goodbye?
Exactly. But we ship all over the United States as well. So I've got a shipment right now going to Seattle. It's pretty far from Florida. So
Yeah.
Yeah, other
Could-
side of the
could
country.
go
Yeah.
further, really.
yeah, I can't really go too much farther.
Alaska.
But yeah, we do anything. We'll take it to any state that they need us to take it to. And we also do, if you've got a client that's moving from Maryland and purchasing a home here in Lutz, I also can move that client from Maryland to Lutz.
That's
so it
great.
doesn't necessarily have to be someone that's actually relocating in our area. We can locate people from all over the United States.
So is there anything that you guys don't want to transport or you don't?
We
move?
do not transport household chemicals, bleach, cleaning supplies, no jewelry.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Coin collections, so no currency, baseball
Aquariums?
cards. We do ship aquariums, but they have to drain
No
the water.
They don't want the water
so
in
no
it.
fish.
And we're not allowed to take fish.
No live animals.
I call it precious cargo. Yeah,
Precious
we
cargo.
We're not allowed to take any precious cargo. No animals, no wives, no children.
So
What about cars?
We do transport automobiles as
look
well.
at that.
And I actually do have, third-party pet transportation companies. We can do anything your client needs us to do. We can ship wine, we can ship household goods, pets, just no kids. So we can
Sometimes
we
those
can
are
make
in the
it
same
happen.
category, right?
Yeah,
Just
automobiles. We have many different third parties that we work with as well, just to make sure that everything runs perfectly smooth.
So how do you actually quote the move, or do you always send somebody out there? Like, how does that work, and how do you know how many people you're going to need?
Yep. So that's my job. And I go out to the residents and I do a site survey with them. Or with COVID, we did a lot of video surveys.
Yeah, I was going to ask how COVID impacted
I
that.
loved the video surveys.
Are you guys going to, are you finding that's going to be the new norm? I would imagine it would
Well,
be.
now that everyone's getting their immunizations, they're now like, okay, you guys can come back to our houses now, which is always best, because then you've got that more one-on-one with the client. But if they don't feel safe, or they want us just to do a video, we do those with them as well, and they work out really good, honestly.
So what do, in terms of like the client's perspective moving, what do they need to do to be prepared for you guys? Because you probably don't ever get that question, right?
Right. So when I'm there at the residence with them, I always ask them, make sure, well, actually, Unigroup has a new portal now, and it has a checklist for the clients, and they can go all the way through this checklist to make sure that they're getting everything done. But I tell them, make sure that all the items that you're going to travel with are put into a designated location, because when the guys are there, we can make your head spin. So you don't have time to grab that iPad out of the bedroom, because all of a sudden everything is packed.
They're blowing circles around
They
you.
are
They got the whole
blowing
truck
circles
packed.
around you. So, we don't reminisce.
Right.
If it's there, it's going in a
Yeah.
box. So I always tell them to prepare for the guys to get there. Make sure everything you're traveling with, your suitcases and all of that, is all put to the side or in your vehicle. Make sure you have all of your important documents with you. Don't let passports, medical records, banking information, none of that go on the truck with the household goods. Those all need to go with you.
So what do you do when you get there and you have someone that says, oh, no, I don't need your packing services. I'm going to pack it all up and have it ready myself. And then you get there and it's like not all in boxes. There's loose stuff and things without lids, and, they're moving it in. Oh, I've seen plastic containers and all kinds of stuff.
Yep, that's not a problem, because we'll make sure it gets taken care of. Now, sometimes when I'm out at the residence, if I feel like, oh, you know what, you've only got 2 weeks to move and you've got 20,000 pounds to pack, and you really think you're going to get it all done?
Yeah.
So I'll let them know ahead of time. If for any reason you don't get it done, give us a call. We'll make sure we bring extra packing material. We will have to do a change order, type thing on them, and charge for the boxes that didn't get packed. But we would definitely make sure it was taken care of, so they're
like
out.
It's hard to get an idea of the weight, right? Since some furniture weighs different things, but I guess you guys are kind of trained for that.
We are, and you're right. Some furniture comes from IKEA, some furniture comes from Ethan Allen. Huge difference.
Yeah, and the weight. Yeah, absolutely.
So when we're out there, we have all of our sales representatives are professionals, so we go, and we're all trained. So we go out there and we know how to identify the IKEA from the Ethan Allen, and make sure that we're putting the proper cost on, the weight on there.
IKEA has its own look, so that's
Yeah. And then the shipment's based on the weight, and then we do binding estimates. So we're guaranteeing that price for that customer.
Okay.
Where it's not going to go over that amount.
That's good.
Unless of course they didn't do the packing and they took the three bedrooms that they weren't going to take. But no, you know what I'm saying. So it's a binding estimate. The rate will not change. And that also makes them feel very comfortable as well, because they know it's not going to change.
So when we come back after the break, we're going to talk about some of the do's and don'ts when you hire a mover, because that part's important. I'm sure nobody ever talks about it. And then we'll talk about some advice you might give our listeners that are looking to hire a moving company, right?
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times the younger kids are saying, oh yeah, I just need a pizza and a 6-pack of beer to move, but then you get to a certain age where you're like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna
That
hire a
age
mover.
is 30 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then you got to pay someone to move the pizza.
But we'll chat about that when we come back right after the break. Again, we're with Michelle Dillard of Browning Moving. This is Tampa Home Talk, and you can reach us at our off-air number at 813-377-2775. Again, you can call or text 813-377-2775. Back in a moment.
that sell, girl. Make that sell.
Welcome home. This is Tampa Home Talk, and we're talking all about moving today with Michelle Dillard with Browning Moving.
You just pulled to me, Adam. You just pulled to me.
Usually you're good at that. You
I
always
know.
make people
Well,
say-
I was looking at this almost coming soon listing.
Do
so
we
we're gonna
announce
try
the
to-
almost coming soon listing, or
Well,
did Adam just sell the almost coming
I'm
soon
going to
listing
try.
while we
I'm
were
going
off
to try
the
to
air?
sell it. Yeah, no, we'll see. No. But anyways, we were talking about large objects, moving tips.
do's and don'ts.
Do's and don'ts.
When you hire a
Now,
mover.
I do have a question before we dive into do's and don'ts, and it might be a do and don't depending on the mover that you choose. But last couple times that my wife and I have moved, they told us to leave the clothes in the drawers, and they'd move it all at once. Is that how you guys do it?
I've heard both ways. I've also heard that you
Both?
should
Is there an F in that word?
both.
At
I've
least
heard
three.
both.
At least three.
Yeah, I always tell if we're going point A to point B, yeah, we can usually leave the clothes in the dresser. If they're going to storage, no, we got to take them out. But I also use, is it a 2-story home? You know, is the dresser
Is there an
super heavy?
elevator?
Is there an elevator?
There's extra, right? There's 2-story with stairs.
Right?
I think
no,
it depends if
there's
you're
no
paying
extra.
by the hour or you're paying by the weight. If you're paying by the weight, take the clothes out, and if you're paying by the hour, leave them in.
But if you
But
take the
it
clothes
don't-
out, you still
that
got to
don't
put them in a
matter.
box, and
Yeah, that
the
don't
weight's
matter.
the same. Actually,
Yeah.
the weight's more because now you got the weight of a box.
No, that's true.
Yeah, but the do's and don'ts of hiring a mover.
Yes.
So the one thing that you do not want to do is ever pay a deposit for a relocation. Those are, not moving companies. Those are what they call brokers. They sub out your household goods to a third party over the road driver. So you never want to pay a deposit. You always want to make sure that the company that you hire is a reputable company, that their employees are on their payroll, that they're felony background checked, they're drug tested.
Yeah.
There's so much to go into moving a professional moving company versus hiring a broker or a third
So
party
you're
company.
saying you don't take any money at all until you're done?
The payment is made prior to delivery. So before the shipment loads, there's a hold placed on the card, and then the card's not charged until the shipment loads and before it delivers.
Otherwise, it's called ransom when they don't pay.
Well, I was
they
going
have
to
all
say,
the
have you ever
stuff.
had anybody say that you don't want to, they don't want to pay or they try to charge back their card or anything like that?
They do say that they don't want to pay, but then I explain to them, that we do have to pay.
We just moved your whole house.
We just moved your whole house. You do have to pay, but they do have rights. They do have their own rights, and their rights that if they feel that there's something wrong, they absolutely can call Unigroup and take it, further if they want to.
So what should our listeners know? Like if they're looking to hire a mover, what's the best advice we can give them for the person
Call
listening right
Michelle.
now? So just call Michelle. All right.
Text
So-
moving to
Yeah, no, no.
813-377-2775.
Exactly.
That's 813-377-2775.
Now, do you charge them to go out and do a consultation with them?
No, we do not. It's
Yeah.
free of charge, and they're not obligated to move with us. But we absolutely will go out there and get them a free estimate.
I tell you that declutter charge for $300.
Yeah,
That's a good
it's
deal.
Does that
two
include
volts.
moving anything, or it's just the storage?
It's getting it to our storage facility, and then what
They
I can
can
do
load
is
it themselves or no?
No, we load it.
Okay.
I still think decluttering is not a good term for it, because when I think of decluttering, I never want to see this stuff again.
Yeah,
I know, right?
I need one of those bag things
Yeah,
that they
the-
deliver, and I'll
That's because you're not
load that.
listening. We're in the studio with Kim. We talk all the time about the
Yeah.
decluttering, the purging, the planning, the pre-packing.
See, decluttering and purging are the same in my mind.
They are.
Yeah.
Sort of. Maybe.
Yeah, and then the decluttering's per the vault as well. So this is like for 2 volts. So if all of a sudden they've got
4
you know,
volts.
yeah. But usually when your clients are decluttering, it's not more than 1,000 pounds or so. It's not usually
Yeah.
astronomical.
So what do you got for us this week, Adam? You got something
Oh.
fresh, or do we already steal your insurance thunder at the
No,
early part of the hour?
no, we're good. The thing I would tell people, and I know I've said it every single week, but it seems like these insurance carriers are moving the goalposts on us daily. Is shop early. If you like the quote that you see, bind it.
Really?
I don't
Yeah.
care if it's going to be a month from now, 2 months from
Is
now.
it that?
I mean,
different?
Well, yeah, because we're having carriers, midweek. They'll send out, we're changing our underwriting guidelines for new business effective Friday. We'll honor all the quotes that were quoted before Friday, and then you have a week to bind them after that, and then after that,
You're done.
it doesn't qualify anymore. So make sure that if you like what you see, buy it. because the options are changing quickly.
Why?
Because they're bleeding money. They're just like, if you read the article in the Times yesterday, about loss ratios and combined ratio and all this other stuff, there's very few that are in the black this year.
But
there's very few that are even
insurance
close to the black this year.
Insurance companies are notorious for being profitable.
They are. It just depends on the segment, right? In Florida, if you're breaking it off by state, that's where you get in a lot of, because there's one carrier that had a 630 something combined ratio. Okay, so your combined
So what the
ratio
heck does that mean?
is premium in force.
Slow down and break that down.
Okay. So your combined ratio is all your claims losses and your operating expenses divided by your premium in force. So premium in force would be all the premium that you've collected. So a 600 combined ratio would mean that for every $1 in premium they took, they spent $6.
Oh, yeah, that wouldn't be.
That is not very good at all. So
something's wrong if they're paying $6 to every $1 they're collecting.
Exactly.
So are they not writing new business, or what are we?
It's
They're not
just
writing the right business.
Not writing the right business. They weren't priced appropriately. They were in the wrong area. So we've seen, and luckily we don't have to deal with this, but they call it solo. So it's Seminole, Orange, Osceola, and whatever. Lake. Yeah. And so I had a carrier that they came out this week, and they won't take any home that was built before 2019.
Why?
Wow.
That's how much contractor fraud and that kind of stuff is
In those
going on
areas?
over there. Yeah. So it's bad because that's the middle of the state, so they shouldn't have the same volume of hurricane claims and that kind of stuff. But
they did have a couple.
They did have a couple,
Irma
but
rolled up the middle.
Irma rolled up the middle. Ida went across the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting storms going across the middle.
Yeah.
And when you get these really large storms that have a big footprint, they don't get torn to shreds in the first 10, 15 miles
Yeah.
inland.
They do get
impacts,
stuff.
Their
Yeah.
impacts are being felt in the villages.
So you're saying they are effectively paying less, and they should have been charging more with those two hurricanes kind of ripping up the middle?
it's a combination of that. I mean, we've had some carriers where if you bought a brand new house, it's $500 for the premium.
We're seeing
right?
that,
And
yeah.
that's with all the bells and whistles. So, how many? Let's say lightning strikes and one of those houses burns down. How
Yeah.
many $500 premiums did you have to collect to pay out a total payout on that?
Everything's new though, but
So
I get it.
they were way below what they should have been charging on some of this stuff. So I think some of them are coming up to where they should have been, and some of them
All right,
they
so
just have to go crazy.
Adam's
so
tip of the week is if you like what you see, buy it.
buy it.
Do it now.
Shop early,
All right,
shop often,
so
and
we've
bind
had a
it.
great hour with Michelle Dillard of Browning Moving. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It
And
was so much fun, Katrina.
definitely, we'll have to talk to you about having you back as a regular. I think you might be a good match. And we'll be back for hour number 2 in just a moment with Dr. Austin DeCaney of Titan Spine and Sports Medicine. This is Tampa Home Talk. I'm your host, Katrina Madewell. Stick around. We'll be back for hour number 2.